Welcome to the North Texas Council Vetting Committee for the Collin County Sheriff. We have with us today candidate Chuck Presley. Thank you for joining us. I'm now going to read the rules aloud. No one is allowed in the room except the vetting panel and the candidate. All electronics allowed in the room shall be turned off except laptops used by the vetting committee and the video recorders provided by the vetting committee. Cell phones and voice recorders shall be turned off in the room. No written material or notes will be taken by the candidate. NTC vetting panel members and candidates agree that all questions and responses at this vetting session are to remain confidential property until videos are uploaded and considered public information on the NTC website or alternate website. Verbal questions will be asked and verbal responses to those questions will be given with 2-minute responses for each question. The candidate will receive a copy of his or her vetting interview recording upon which time the video will be posted on the NTC website or alternate website. We will now introduce the North Texas Council Vetting Committee members for the Collin County Sheriff.
My name is Donald Rutledge. I live in Allen, and I am a registered voter.
And I'm Brian Gallimore, also from Allen, Texas.
And I'm Barbara Harless from Murphy, Texas.
Again, Collin County Sheriff candidate Chuck Presley is with us today. Please start us off with a 2-minute introduction of yourself and why you are running.
Well, thank you for having me this afternoon. My name is Chuck Presley. I'm a candidate for sheriff. I currently serve as your constable at Collin County Precinct 3. I have 34 years experience in law enforcement, over 30 years in Collin County. I started 30 years ago in Allen, Texas as a police officer in 1981, and in 1984 I moved to the sheriff's office where I worked for 22 years and was a patrol shift commander when I retired 5.5 years ago. I've been a resident of Allen for 25 years and still am a resident of Allen. My daughter went through the school system in Allen, and my son lives in East Texas. My wife's a retired deputy sheriff from Dallas County with 34 years experience. So I'm running for sheriff because I feel like, based on my experience and leadership, that I have the best vision for the future of the Collin County Sheriff's Office. We have many things that need to be addressed. Basically, there's two areas: the jail function, which is a critical function of the Sheriff's Office. In my 22 years with the Sheriff's Department, I spent about half of my career in the jail. I was a jail shift commander. I hold a master jailer's license. I'm the only candidate in our race that's a certified jailer. And then the other side of that coin is the law enforcement operation. As I said, I've worked in all divisions of the Sheriff's Office. I was a warrant supervisor. I was a patrol supervisor when I retired, so I feel like I have the best overall experience in delivering services to the citizens of Collin County.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We are now going to begin the questions. You will have 2 minutes to answer each of the following questions. Donald's going to start off.
Okay. Number one question: what is the most important job of a county sheriff?
Well, I've kind of addressed that. I don't know if there's a most important job. The jail operation is critical. That's a major charge of the Sheriff's Office, to operate our county jail. But equally important is the law enforcement side. And that's an area which is, quite frankly, the current incumbent has been deficient in the last 25 years. We have a rural population now which reaches about 80,000 people, which would exceed the 5th largest city in Collin County if they were combined in one geographical area. And we currently are woefully understaffed in patrol division in comparison to Denton County. We have 36 patrol deputies to patrol 980 square miles in Collin County. Denton has 64 patrol deputies with 200,000 less population. There's no excuse in that, in the 5th richest county in the state. So the citizens living in the rural areas have been underserved for years. And it's been 7 years since this between times the sheriff has gone to the commissioner's court and asked for a personnel increase. And I think that's critical. We need to improve services to the rural area. That's one of the reasons we have an average of a 27-minute response time.
Okay, next question. The Bill of Rights was ratified in 1791. Not one of the first 10 amendments has been amended since the ratification. Does this mean that the Bill of Rights mean today what they meant in 1789?
Yeah, generally I think that's correct.
Okay. The Second Amendment reads, "A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed." What does the term militia mean?
Well, interpreted in today, I would interpret that to mean your National Guard or your state guard.
Okay.
Number 4, question number 4, what does a well-regulated mean in the Second Amendment?
What? In what context?
What does a well-regulated mean in the Second Amendment? What does it mean?
Well-regulated militia, is that the?
Yes, sir. What does a well-regulated militia mean?
Well, it's policies, procedures, controlled by the state and the federal government.
Okay, question number 5. Do we have any federal laws in violation of the Second Amendment, and if so, which ones?
I don't know.
All right. Do we have any state laws in violation of the Second Amendment, and if so, which ones?
I'm not aware of any.
Okay.
Question number 7. What is the 2012 budget of the Sheriff's Department? What percentage of the revenue is derived from the federal or state and county sources?
No, I don't know what well, it's I believe it's $38 million total, but the sheriff has several budgets. He has the jail budget and he has the operation budget. Percentage-wise, there's some fine monies that are derived, but I don't know what percentage that is. And then there's some federal money on the boarding federal prisoners, and I don't know what percentage that is.
Okay, next question. Acceptance of federal funds comes with, quote, strings attached. What areas do you see acceptance of federal funds to have undesirable consequences, and give 2 examples of where we should refuse federal funds?
Well, I don't know where we're accepting any federal funds that have undesirable consequences, because the only ones I know of is the housing fees for federal prisoners.
Okay. Question number 9. Where will you make cuts to the sheriff's budget, if any?
I don't see any cuts. I mean, like I said, I'm advocating an increase because we have to have a staffing increase. We're deficient, so.
Okay.
Question number 10. Where would you propose to increase the sheriff's budget?
Okay. I have a phased-in approach. My recommendation is to hire 8 new deputies for the next 4 years to bridge this gap. What I was talking about earlier, and that will be an increase of approximately $1 million per year for personnel and equipment for these new positions. And then the jail would have an increase in personnel if we have to increase jail space, but I don't know of an immediate need to do that.
Next question. To what extent should the Collin County Sheriff uphold his sworn oath or affirmation to protect and defend the privacy clauses of the Constitution?
Would you repeat that?
Sure. To what extent should the Collin County Sheriff uphold his sworn oath or affirmation to protect and defend the privacy clauses of the Constitution?
I don't know what extent you're referring to. I mean, to uphold his oath of office and to protect the citizens.
Okay. The Fourth Amendment states, quote, "The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized." Do you believe that the IRS conducting random audits on innocent citizens is a proper and constitutional procedure?
No, not on the face of the statement you read. I don't.
Okay, thank you.
Question number 13. What is a fusion center, and what is the relationship between the Collin County Sheriff's Department and the North Central Texas Fusion Center in McKinney?
The relationship, as I understand it, is first of all a landlord-tenant. I guess they provide the office and space for a location, but the part of the staffing is comprised of the Homeland Security Director, who's funded by the county, and some personnel. Now, the application end of it is information derived by the Collin County deputies through their investigations are funneled through the Fusion Center, as other law enforcement agencies.
Okay. What is the role and duty of the Sheriff's Department relative to immigration laws?
Well, currently, our role, we don't have a direct role. When I got into law enforcement 34 years ago, it was illegal it was against the law to be in our country illegally, and we had arrest authority, and we would arrest illegal immigrants. But today, with our role is different, and if we come across somebody that's suspected to be illegal in the course of our law enforcement actions, then we make our arrest and we flag that person, and an ICE investigator that's assigned to the jail goes through those arrests and tries to identify those individuals for deportation. But we don't have a direct role. That's my short answer.
All right. Donald?
Sure.
Oh, I'm sorry. What does the Texas Constitution have to say about illegal immigration, and what power does the sheriff have to combat illegal immigration?
As I said, I don't think we have any specific power as far as just illegal immigration.
Okay, sir. Question number 16. Habeas corpus prevents individuals from being held indefinitely without probable cause and evidence. Who has the authority to suspend habeas corpus? And under what circumstance would you follow orders to suspend habeas corpus?
Orders. I don't know that I would follow orders. I don't know who would be ordering me. There may be some federal provisions through the Patriot Act or something that would govern that. I'm not aware of if there are. But I don't know of any. And I wouldn't support the violation of habeas corpus.
Next question. Martial law is the imposition of military rule by military authorities over designated regions. Who has authority to declare martial law in Collin County, and what would be a valid reason for enforcing martial law?
I believe the governor has the authority to declare martial law in the state of Texas, but and the only reason you would declare martial law is either a national disaster or a disturbance or riot situation where there's unusual circumstances.
All right. Question number 18. If the federal government or the United Nations were to implement a policy of door-to-door gun confiscation in your jurisdiction, what would you do?
Well, I don't know what I would do, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm not going to say what I would do. I don't know what the circumstances would be that would warrant such an action. I would be hard-pressed to take any action like that against my citizens. And I would have to be, I don't know what conditions would make me do that, but I'm not going to say I wouldn't do it. I mean, I know in comparison to what's going on, for instance, in Florida, the tension and the possible events that could occur in that jurisdiction, I don't know. I think it's hard to categorically say how you would react without knowing the facts at the time. But offhand, I would be reluctant to disarm lawful citizens.
Question number 19, checkpoints. In what instances are checkpoints lawful?
Well, for immigration, they're used along the borders. I think they're lawful in that context. Years ago, we used to have DWI checkpoints. I think those were effective, but they're not used anymore. So.
Okay. NDAA sections 1021 and 1022. Some people interpret the NDAA to allow indefinite detention of lawful American citizens without due process. What is your interpretation, and does NDAA allow for indefinite detention of American citizens?
No, I don't think it does.
All right. This is your final question. Congress recently passed a nationalized health care. It appears that all citizens will be required by law to participate in this federal health care regulation. If citizens in your jurisdiction refuse to accept or use this federal program and you are ordered to cite or arrest such troublemakers, what will you do?
Well, of course, I don't agree with the original statute personally, but if it's the federal government, I would be hard pressed to recognize their authority to order me to do something like that. So, sitting here today, I would refuse to do it, but I don't know what, if I researched it, I'm not going to, I would be reluctant at the least, but I don't see myself enforcing that if I have an option.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.